From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regular board meeting, Tuesday, July 29, Kern County Board of Supervisors. Welcome. We'll begin, as we always do, with the roll call. Madam Clerk?
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Parlier.
Here.
Supervisor Flores.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. This morning, we're going to do something a little different for our salute. We have a very, very special presentation, which will be made this morning by Supervisor Peters, who reached out to me last week with an incredible, unique, and very Kern County story, of which I'll let him inform you about. At the conclusion of the salute, would you please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Mr. Stephen Taylor. He last week was honored as the veteran of the game at Dodger Stadium, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity for him to come down here, and he kindly agreed to come and join us for the pledge. So bear with me real quick, Stephen, while I read through your bio and share some information about you with everyone. Born and raised in Bakersfield, Stephen Taylor graduated from Ridgeview High School, and like many others, his life changed forever on September 11th, 2001. He was a senior in high school when he watched the attacks unfold live in his classroom. After school that day, he went straight to the recruiting station and enlisted in the U.S. Army. He served with the 4th Infantry Division, stationed out of Fort Hood, Texas. He completed 2 14-month combat tours in Baghdad, Iraq. He worked as a master gunner for the Quick Reaction Force and convoy escort teams. After returning home, he faced new battles after being diagnosed with a serious heart condition linked to his service. He has survived multiple heart attacks and died 3 times and now lives with an ICD. Sorry, I'm not going to try and read that. I'll mess those words up. His service-connected disabilities have not stopped him from pursuing his passions. He went to CSUB, where he graduated with honors in criminal justice. He's now an account executive for KUZZ radio station, and in his spare time, he enjoys golf as a form of healing from his experiences in the war. Stephen, thanks for being here, my friend. I appreciate it, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks for having me. Salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. I enjoyed those pictures of the Dodgers honoring one of our own. What an incredible moment. Okay, we're going to move to our consent agenda. Oh, excuse me. Next is a very special guest we have today. You're going to really love her. Our pet of the week. So, Nick, if you could bring, I believe Kiwi is her name, out, and she is precious. Who do you have with you?
Good morning, Chair, Madam Chair, members of the board. I have Kiwi.
Hey there, Kiwi.
Kiwi, I know, good morning. Kiwi is, she's about 4 months old. She's a pug mix. She came to the shelter about a week ago, and she's available for adoption right now. She's a sweet, sweet dog. She knows some commands, and we think she's kennel trained, and she's available for adoption right now.
Okay, what will that cost the new home of Kiwi?
Her adoption fee is just $30, and that includes everything you need to be a responsible pet owner.
My goodness, $30. We're practically giving her to you. And she needs a forever home. And I got a good feeling about this one. All right, Kiwi, good luck to you. Thank you, Nick. Keep up the good work. Okay, our next matter for this morning is consent. These matters are considered routine and non-controversial by staff. But if a member of the public feels otherwise, we certainly want to hear from you, and we will take time to do so on the consent matters. I will read them, and they will be handled with one vote unless a member of the public feels they want to address some issues. Consent matters begin on page 2, and they include items 1 through 2, as well as 4 through 9. On page 3, items 12 through 18. On page 4, all items listed, 19 to 26. On page 5, items 27 to 30, as well as 32 through 34. On page 6, items 35 through 40. On page 7, items 43 through 47. And on page 8, item 48 and 49. Those are the consent matters this morning. If there's a member of the public who would like to address a consent matter, now would be the time to do so. Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion for all consent matters. Gentlemen?
Motion.
A motion, Supervisor Parlier.
Second.
And a second, Supervisor Flores. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Excellent. Moving right along to resolutions and proclamations. We only have one matter this morning, and that is to proclaim August 2025 as Child Support Awareness Month in Kern County. And this proclamation will be handled by Supervisor Jeff Flores.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. If Tony Hendrick could come join me to the podium, thank you. Good morning, board, members of the public. It's a great day to celebrate Child Support Awareness Month, which encourages all Californians to recognize the vital role that this department serves. Kern County Department of Child Services is dedicated to assisting all parents through neutral, supportive, and a fair process. Legal guardians can enroll online or visit local offices and have guidance every step of the way through the child support journey. And just some quick snapshot and some stats. Child support serves 51,601 children and 39,934 families throughout the county. In federal fiscal year 2024, the department facilitated the collection of over $86 million in child support payments, with approximately $75 million distributed to directly to families. And every year this department takes the lead and gives one of the largest backpack distributions in the entire county. Thank you, Tony. And I remember we all worked with your predecessor, Liz Chavez, so thank you for continuing that. And we recently did a backpack drive, Chairman Perez, Sunday, to see that the community cares, that we care about their education, that there's mentorship, that there's love, and it's truly an inspiration to set the next generation well prepared. So thank you. So you prepare them in life, you prepare them in education, and you provide a critical role in supporting these families that would otherwise do without. So I'll hand it over to you. And just on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we declare August 2025 as Child Support Awareness Month, and it's signed by our chairwoman, Leticia Perez, dated this day, July 29th. Thank you. Congratulations.
Good morning, Madam Chair and honorable members of the board. As we recognize Child Support Awareness Month, I'm proud to share how Kern County Child Support Services is evolving to meet the changing needs of today's families while remaining grounded in our core department values of trust, respect, communication, quality, teamwork, and innovation. We know families today look different, and we've made it a priority to ensure our services reflect that reality. Over the past few years, we have taken meaningful steps to remove barriers, improve access and deliver services in a way that is more efficient, equitable, and responsive to the needs of our community. We introduce online appointments to reduce in-office wait times, launched Saturday hours to better accommodate working families, and expanded our reach across the county with kiosks and a mobile office, bringing services to those who may otherwise struggle to access them. Through the lens of innovation, we've streamlined our enrollment process and implemented DocuSign, allowing customers to sign documents securely and remotely. These updates are helping families engage with our families more easily with dignity, flexibility, and respect. I want to take a moment to highlight, actually, there was supposed to be a video before this, I apologize. You know what, go ahead and do the video, and then I'll continue. I'm sorry, everybody. This is typical Tony, so sorry.
Families today look different, and so does the Child Support Program. As we celebrate Child Support Awareness Month this August, we want to share how this vital program is evolving to meet the needs of modern families. At Kern County Child Support Services, we are dedicated to helping ensure that children receive the financial and medical resources necessary for their well-being. And this year, we have elevated our customer experience and reduced traditional barriers by creating online appointments to shorten wait times in our office, offering Saturday appointments, and making our services available countywide through our automated kiosks and new mobile office. We leveraged technology to create a new, simplified enrollment process and introduced DocuSign, so now customers can sign documents remotely without having to come into the office. We cultivated community networks by partnering with the Kern County Library, Employers Training Resource, the Family Law Facilitator Office, Kern County Probation, and the Family Justice Center, offering workshops and services to our parents. And this month, we're celebrating our 16th annual Ready, Set, Back to School Health Fair, the largest backpack giveaway event in Kern County. These strategic innovations have allowed us to serve over 39,000 Kern County families this fiscal year, impacting 51,000 children by distributing $86 million to help improve lives in our community. This Child Support Awareness Month, we're investing in the future, one that's modern, fair, and focused on what really matters: children.
Okay, thank you. I want to take a moment to highlight something that represents a major shift in our department's culture is the community partnerships that we highlighted in the video. Historically, child support was seen as a program focused solely on establishing and enforcing child support orders, and partnerships weren't considered a priority, but that's changed over the years. As you saw in the video, we now partner with a variety of organizations, but I want to especially recognize the Kern County Sheriff's Office, which wasn't featured in the video, but has been one of our earliest and strongest partners. We began as a kiosk at the Laredo Detention Facility and now has evolved into in-person appointments and educational workshops. The individuals attending these workshops are now sharing our message that we are here to help. This is a profound shift from how our services were once perceived. By building cross-sector collaborations, we're creating sustainable solutions for the families we serve. This is where teamwork extends beyond our department and becomes a county-wide effort to support Kern County's families and children. In addition to our Ready, Set, Back to School Health and Wellness Fair, we are working internally to grow our understanding of the communities we serve. This month, we're hosting an informational session for our newer staff. We have a huge number of newer staff at our department. And this month, we're also inviting community partners to join us in exploring the root causes of poverty so that together we can look into solutions that are collaborative, compassionate, and lasting. All of this work is being guided by our department values: trust in our processes, respect for every individual we serve, communication that is clear and compassionate, quality in every interaction, teamwork across agencies, and a continued drive to innovate for the future. So today, I'm going to have them all stand. I brought some individuals from my department. I want to highlight that these individuals live these values every day. Among these team members are from our new mobile office known as the Action Squad, which actually stands for Aspiring Change Through Innovative Opportunities and Networking, and our Family Resource Unit, who initiated the workshops at the workshop concept for the Laredo Detention Facility and work with some of our most vulnerable individuals in our caseload. I commend the outstanding forward-thinking work our staff deliver daily. This is just a small sample of the people who are truly changing how we serve this community. For Child Support Awareness Month, we remain committed to building a future that is modern, fair, and focused on what matters most, the well-being of Kern County's children and families. So thank you for your continued support and partnership. Okay, thank you.
You know, I'd like to say something about some of the comments you said. It sometimes doesn't get comprehended for what it is. But during my first chairmanship, it wasn't because I was chair, but I recall it distinctly. Our sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, launched the first out of all 58 counties in California and led the way. I recall distinctly, because I was a member of the prison board, how impressed and cutting edge our program was for the entire state of California to bring in a kiosk, a child support kiosk, into our jails. It had never been done before. It was extremely cutting edge, and it happened right here in Kern County under Donnie Youngblood's leadership. And that gave people that are in custody an opportunity to have a dignified, private, confidential conversation about their obligations. And we know so many people very eager to do so. During this particular program, people could get enrolled in the opportunity to make small payments as a start, but to have their license holds lifted while they're in custody. A lot of folks, of course, need to work. They need to drive to work, especially in Kern County. And this was just a remarkable, modernization and something very realistic to bring to our in-custody clients who need to get back on track and who these impediments can be completely overwhelming. And so this was really, really, I'm so happy that you mentioned that today, because I see the evolution of your modernization really came from that particular launch under our sheriff back in 2014 when we brought that kiosk for dignified, respectful, confidential conversations that we know are challenging, but that under the right circumstances can really be an incredible impetus to moving folks back to a place of stability and health. So I want to tip my hat to our sheriff. He was quite famous around the state when he did that, because nobody expected Kern County to do that. And there we were, right on the cutting edge. So I think it's remarkable. And I appreciate everything that you do to think creatively and realistically about helping our neighbors, one family at a time. So thank you so much. And again, to Donnie, excellent work there and excellent leadership.
Thank you.
And thank you for their stellar backpack giveaway program, which has evolved to include shoes and socks and school supplies. And, for many, many of our kids, we are in the poorest congressional district in the United States. These small tokens, or what may appear to be small, are really incredible acts of humanity and dignity for our kids. We need them to compete. They are our future workforce. They are our neighbors. And we want to make sure we can close the gap on some fundamental needs that really this department meets so graciously and just wonderfully. So that's God's work, in my opinion. So thank you for what you do. Moving along, Public presentations is the portion of this agenda reserved for members of the public to address this board on matters that are not on today's specific agenda, but are within the jurisdiction and the business of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. So a matter may not be on the agenda today, but based upon input from the public, we may add matters to the agenda, or we may find other creative ways to address your concerns. But now is your time. We do ask that you give us grace, and we ask for a 2-minute time allocation. Although it's not a hard stop, we do ask that you please help us keep this business moving along, because we have a full agenda and lots of important work to do. Your input is important as well, and we're eager to hear from you always. Mr. Shin, it's good to see you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning to the Board of Supervisors. Beautiful morning. God bless America. My name is Charles Shin. I am a retired Marine and a concerned citizen. This handout is dated 14 July 2025 from the Election Integrity Project of California, known as EIPCA, is pursuing legislation that will bring about national election reform because, quote, the current electoral system in numerous states lacks the safeguards to guarantee citizens that their rights are protected and their voice is heard, unquote. California elects 12% of the members of the House of Representatives, the highest number of any state, and controls 10% of the Electoral College vote. As a result, California's suspect election results impact every American. In the last 20 years, California has been at the forefront of national reforms that weaken election laws and reduce election integrity, unquote, according to EIPCA. California election laws have been implemented in multiple states since 2015 and have led the way to a reduction in state and federal election security nationwide. Such electoral incompetence, at best, or worse, corruption, impacts the entire nation and subverts civil rights of all U.S. citizens, regardless of where they reside, unquote. The U.S. Constitution grants Congress the power to regulate the manner of House and Senate elections. According to EIPCA, quote, Congress has the constitutional authority and duty to both override the detrimental law that produces corrupt election results and simultaneously cut off dangerous trends in election law nationwide. EIPCA is submitting to Congress a proposal for a federal election integrity bill with 17 key points, which include, and I will be followed by my friend Ron Barger.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Board. Okay, number one, required absolute transparency of entire election process. Number two, require proof of citizenship to register to vote where the voter lives in the country or overseas. Number three, require government-issued photo voter ID to register to vote, apply for and submit absentee mail-in ballots, vote in person, or vote from overseas. Number four, resolve the inconsistencies regarding voting from overseas. Number five, update the National Voter Registration Act, NVRA, of 1993, passed under President Bill Clinton. Number six, update the Help America Voter Act, HAVA, of 2002, authored by Christopher Dodd and signed into law by President George W. Bush, to include consequences for noncompliance teeth into its mandates to ensure compliance and monitor proper use of federal funds by state election officials, particularly for proper training of poll workers and ballot processors. Number seven, create a federally managed program such as a merged voter database of all 50 states with citizen oversight to ensure no voter is able to be registered or to vote in more than one state or vote while ineligible. Number eight, prohibit top two jungle primaries. Number nine, prohibit ranked choice voting. And number 10, limit the number of days of walk-in early voting to a maximum of 7 days before election. I'll turn this over to Andy Hansel.
Morning, Andy.
Board, staff. Top of the morning to you. I'm continuing with the 17 key points.
Sir, your name, please.
Oh, Andy Hensel,
Thank you, Andy.
H-E-N-S-E-L. I'm continuing with the 17 key points that the Election Integrity Project of California is proposing for federal elections. And as you hear them, notice if your knee-jerk reaction is voters will be disenfranchised. And if so, ask yourself, is it worth the risk to the integrity of the entire voting system to get just a few more apathetic voters? Voters that can't be bothered to vote unless they have 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after Election Day to vote. Key point number 11, eliminate no excuse voting by mail. Number 12, prohibit most election technology and return to in-person voting with paper ballots and supervised hand counting at the precinct level. Very cheap to do. 13, protect the security of paper ballot by requiring a watermark that cannot be replicated, making it impossible to reproduce extra ballots. We could do this if we do nothing else. Number 14, prohibit same-day registration. 15, prohibit ballots arriving after Election Day from being accepted or counted. 16, prohibit ballot harvesting and monitor all ballot drop boxes. Number 17, prohibit pre-registration of minors. All 17 points are listed on a 13-page proposal. The Election Integrity Project has provided a draft of the proposal to U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson at the end of May for his review. They have now completed the Herculean effort and will be providing the proposal to a congressional committee this week. This will be followed with a release of the legislative proposal to all 50 state legislatures. And I'm turning this over to my colleague, Glenn Clayton.
Thank you, Andy. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Clayton. Good morning, Board, Madam Chair, all the hardworking staff. Thank you very much for this time. And continuing, a request for a congressional hearing concerning California elections will be made that focuses on 14 years of research of the voter rolls at the state and county level, resulting in legal actions, as well as the observation of Californians' electoral process over 20,000 citizens in 43 out of 58 counties. In 2017, the Election Integrity Project California retained Judicial Watch to sue the California Secretary of State and the Los Angeles Registrar of Voters for a violation of federal voter roll maintenance laws, resulting in the cancellation of millions of ineligible registrations from 2019 to present. In the same year, EIP California retained the Landmark Legal Foundation. Now, the Landmark Legal filed 4 briefs with the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security, and in 2020, a legal brief went to the U.S. Supreme Court to assist Arizona in winning its case to retain their anti-ballot harvest law in a 6-3 vote. During the same year, EIP California challenged 4.5 million vote-by-mail ballots being mailed to addresses of deceased or relocated individuals. Dennis McLean to follow me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Dennis.
Dennis McLean. Morning, Madam Chair, supervisors, and staff. Thank you for listening to my concerns. Back in 2019, EIPCA filed legal action in Fresno County in order to review the 2018 ballot envelopes and the remade ballots. In 2020, EIPCA filed legal action against Ventura County for implementing election policies and procedures that superseded California laws allowing citizens to observe elections and make challenges to actions that do not comply with state and federal laws. In 2021, EIPCA filed legal action against California Governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, and 13 Registrar of Voters, ROVs. This case went to the Ninth Circuit of Appeals, including Kern County, in 2022. In 2023 and 2024, EIPCA opposed and testified against California's entrance into the ERIC, Electronic Registration Information Center. A U.S. Election Integrity Scoreboard released June 2025 by the Heritage Foundation showed California listed with an overall ranking of 50, dead last, based on voter identification, implication, accuracy of voter registration list, absentee ballot management, voter harvesting, trafficking restrictions, access of election observers, and verification of citizenship. Listed in a tie for first was Arkansas and Tennessee. Concerned citizens request that your board write in formal support of this federal pursuit. Next will be Pamela.
Good morning, Pam. Welcome.
Good morning, Board. Pamela Reese, REECE. Good to see you all this morning. To follow, Section 1, Findings and Purpose of the California Voter ID Initiative. To enforce existing voter qualifications, including U.S. citizenship established by California's Constitution, the people hereby amend the California Constitution to promote public confidence and trust in the electoral process, which encourages civic participation and supports a healthy democracy. And B, to deter and detect voter fraud by maintaining accurate voter registration records and confirming eligibility to vote. And C, to minimize the risk of voter impersonation by requiring proof of ID to vote. Section 2, California Voter ID Reforms. Article 2 of the California Constitution is amended to add Section 3.1 to read as follows. A, the Secretary of State and the county elections officials shall each together have the duty to maintain accurate voter registration lists and shall use best efforts to verify citizenship attestations using government data and shall annually report what % of each county's voter rolls have been citizenship verified. In my opinion, that should be 100% every year. And B, each time a voter casts a ballot in person in any election in the state, the voter shall present government-issued ID, or if voting by mail, the voter shall provide the last 4 digits of a unique identifying number from government-issued ID that matches the one designated by the voter in their voter registration record. Did I mention that hand-tallying paper ballots from an election at a precinct is 100% foolproof? 100% foolproof. And it doesn't cost any extra money to implement. Or we could even think about restarting the voter rolls from 0. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll hand it over
Pam.
to Jess.
Good morning, Board.
Hi, Jess. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to reiterate something Dennis said about the coming in, our integrity is coming in at 50th, even with a DEI grading system. That's a failure. So this type of identification designated by the voters must be indicated in their voter registration record, noted on their ballot, provided to them and available to them upon request by phone or electronically. Elections officials shall only count regular or provisional ballots after verifying the identity of the person voting pursuant to the requirements of this section. Verifying that the person has cast only 1 ballot in this election. A government-issued identification means documentation that allows conclusive verification of a voter's identity. Upon request by an eligible voter, the state shall provide at no charge a voter ID card for the use of casting a ballot. Section 3.1C. This section shall be executing. The legislature shall also promptly enact laws to implement this section provided for voting by military or overseas voters consisting with federal law, and ensure that all state and local officials comply and support the compliance with this section. Citizens may seek the judicial review and remedy of the state's or the county's compliance with this section. During every odd number year, the state auditor shall audit the state and each county's compliance with the section and report the findings and recommendations for improving the integrity of the elections to the public. Section 3, serviceability. The provisions of this article are severable. If any portion of this section, subdivision, paragraph, clause, sentence, phrase, word, or application of this act for any reason is held invalid by the decision of any court competent jurisdiction, the decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this act, which shall be given in effect without the invalid portions of the application. We would like the board to consider making a resolution to support this initiative. One more note on the cameras for the drop boxes. They're worthless. Your drop box out here is vandalized and graffitied, and if the cameras were in place, you'd already have the guy arrested and put away. Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Jess. Any other members of the public? Please. Again, on matters that are not on today's specific agenda, we do have a very important and big budget agenda item that we will be getting to momentarily. So we will discuss the budget matters in a few moments. This is for matters not on today's agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. The reason I took off my hat was in respect of you all. Well, my name, if it was in the Spanish tradition, would be Janine Haney Hallmark Adams. So you can see that hashtag I am an immigrant, Irish immigrants, Scottish immigrants. Okay, my husband is partially black, partially Scottish. It's America, okay? Hashtag I am a veteran. This Irish guy named Gerald William Haney of the O'Haney clan was on Omaha Beach. He was one of 40% that survived through it. He was badass. He won a silver, he earned for his duty on that day a Silver Star, a Bronze Star for valor, and when he came back, he served on the bench of the Minnesota Federal Court of Appeal for 40 years. That is who my ancestors are. Hashtag, I am an immigrant. And that's why I think when I'm here talking to you, I am the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. I don't give up. You know I don't give up. These guys don't give up. They're veterans. And guess what? I'm joining the VFW in Tehachapi in the auxiliary because of my ancestors, my husband, not my husband, my dad, Hallmark, you know the name. He was a Marine. My great, Haney, who I just described to you. And my name is Janine Haney Hallmark Adams. Boom, 2 minutes.
What an incredible family legacy. Janine, I had no clue.
Neither did I till recently.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Oh my goodness, that was remarkable. My goodness. Thank you, Janine.
Going by giving you my name, does that count against me, my time?
No, sir.
My name is Ronald F. Owens, Jr. Ronald, F as in Frank, OWENS-JR.
Welcome.
Thank you. I rode 267 miles from Sacramento County to speak to you today. On April 14th, 2022, Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra said this regarding the COVID-19 vaccines, quote, "We know these vaccines are killing people of color, blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at about 2 times the rate of white Americans. I worked at the California Department of Public Health for more than 14 years, and I brought this information to my management in April of 2022, and unfortunately, they made it about the messenger and not about the message. Exactly 1 year ago today, on July 29th, 2024, I sent this board and your colleagues across the state an email and 5-page PDF explaining this information. In that particular PDF, I cited studies from Italy, Germany, Japan, that cites that the COVID-19 vaccines are killing people. I also noted Health and Safety Code 010205, I think I misquoted it, the Health and Safety Code, which basically states that you guys have a statutory responsibility to preserve and protect the public health. I have in my hand, my phone, I'll forward you guys that 5-page PDF that I sent you on July 29th of last year. There are more than 700 deaths from the COVID-19 vaccine, according to VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Please take the time to read this email. Do not assign this to staff. I've CC'd the sheriffs, the DA, and other concerned citizens, and I'm about ready to send that email right now, and it's called Kern County COVID-19 Vaccine Warning. This time last week, I was at Tulare County Board of Supervisors, and next week I'll be at another Board of Supervisors. This is my 41st appearance before a Board of Supervisor. Wow. I'm going throughout California doing what the California Department of Public Health should have done more than 3 years ago. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other members of the public who would like to weigh in on matters not on today's agenda? We'll get to the budget in a moment. Okay, we see another. Good morning and welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. Carol McMahon Bender.
Hi, Carol.
Go Irish. Anyway.
My best girlfriend in the world's Irish.
I came today to make a comment on the budget, but since I'm here before you, I'm going to talk about something that's very concerning. I'm in District 1, Western Rosedale, and I've lived there for 33 years. At that point in time, the Western Rosedale specific plan was happening. And I was very instrumental in going to all those meetings and following up, and many of you have seen me countless times in 33 years for various things that have come and gone, projects that have been successful and unsuccessful. And so I'm here today to say that when the properties were, or the land was annexed into the city west of Allen Road, north of Rosedale Highway, it was basically just rubber stamped into the city for them to do whatever they wanted to do with it. I went to that meeting and they did not allow me to speak. They told me they have the discretion apparently at the city to decide whether or not the public can speak. And basically that was rubber stamped. The way that it was noticed was with the way that they do it is they just put a sign out there, and since there's no one that lives out there, unless you drive by and stop and read the sign, you don't even know what's going on. Oh, wow. Anyway, right now the city is planning on developing that area. Some of the stuff you know because some of it's right there bordering the county. And since we're in the county, you represent us. The city doesn't really care what we say because we don't vote for them. And they're not a full-time situation, as you know. Right. Anyway, They're planning to put high-density housing out there, and we don't have the infrastructure. When you were in charge of that location, a lot of the reason it wasn't developed was because you recognized that we did not have the roads, we did not have the overpasses over that very unsafe railway. Yes, I'm aware. And I would like you, particularly Mr. Phillips, since that's your area, to take a look at that. Talk to the city. I mean, what happened to the metropolitan plan? What happened to the sphere of influence and how we were all going to just work together? That's blown up. And I'm really worried, and so are all my neighbors out there. So I would like you to know that that's what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. You're quite knowledgeable about those issues.
Madam Chair, could I respond real quick?
Please, Supervisor Peters.
If you would like to, we have staff up in my office on at room 501 on the 5th floor. If you would like to get in touch with them and leave your contact info, I'd be happy to talk with you a little bit more and see what we can do to get engaged on that.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Any other member of the public on matters not on today's agenda? Okay. We are then going to close the public presentations portion of this morning's agenda. And item number 11 are board member announcements or reports. Colleagues, do you have anything? I see Supervisor Flores. Anybody else here? Okay, Supervisor Flores. And then I have some remarks as well. Supervisor Flores.
Thank you, Chair. It's actually fitting timing today as we go through our budget exercise. We talk about public safety and Sheriff's Office and code enforcement and public works and all the great work that they do, which is at the spear of the county impact to improve quality of life. I just want to thank code enforcement, public works, Josh Champlin, code officer Jacob Clayton, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood, because we've had a problem site in District 3 at Olive and Newsom near the fire station and near my church and near Olive and Victor neighborhood. There's been a terrible eyesore, burnt structure, car wash, filthy, dangerous. It's like a biohazard, Superfund site, but constant attention. We never let up. Today, we cleaned it up after a week's worth of demolition. So we're going to continue that, and I just wanted to publicly thank them because it looks like a night and day difference. Went from squalor to a clean pad, and we're going to sustain that and keep up that effort on every front. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Flores. Last week, we got the very sad, tragic news that we lost a member of the county family, a previous public defender here in Kern County, Conrad Moore. When I began my career in Kern County as a deputy public defender, it was under the tutelage and mentorship of Conrad Moore. He was the misdemeanor supervising attorney, and he guided me and led me, taught me the art and profiling juries, selecting juries, conducting jury trials, winning some, losing some, but really fighting for the constitutional provisions and pillars that make America the light of the world, literally. Conrad was a great friend. He was a consummate professional. He was always the first person in that office and the last person to leave. I remember on one particular holiday, he was not keen on time off or not being in the office and doing your work every minute of every hour. He was a workhorse. And I remember he came around to us at 15 minutes until before 5 to give us the permission to celebrate a holiday by giving us 15 minutes off early. That was a major concession for Conrad Moore. He was a stunning public servant, absolutely devoted to constitutional provisions. It didn't matter who it applied to. It didn't matter a fact pattern, the mistakes that an individual had made. He was absolutely devoted to the U.S. Constitution, in particular the Bill of Rights, and making that real, making it meaningful, making it really matter for neighbors in this community and people in really hard circumstances. Conrad was a remarkable, brilliant legal mind, educated in the finest institutions. It was really quite striking that he chose to bring those skills and abilities to Kern County. Raised 3 beautiful daughters here in Kern County. Has an incredibly beautiful, marvelous wife who I know very well and who were just an incredible, great American family and neighbors of ours here in Kern County. Again, a personal friend and a remarkable public servant, a remarkable mind, an incredible contribution to Americana and our way of life. So today I want to close in his honor, acknowledge him and his contributions to the Kern County family, but also to our neighbors and to the provisions of our documents that set us apart from the rest of the world and make us the light of the world. It's the Conrad Moores that make that real in application and in real life. So in honor of that dear friend and mentor, we'll close in his honor today. So Madam Clerk, thank you. Any other board member announcements or reports? Okay, we're going to move on to our agenda this morning. We have a very important matter to discuss. Item number 31 is our budget presentation. Yesterday evening, we had the opportunity to listen to our CAO team present on our current state of our budget and our current proposal. Of course, it is not finalized, and we are here today to receive more input from the public, but also to continue to flesh out our budgetary reality and to inform the public of those realities and make decisions moving forward. So thank you again for your patience and interest in the Kern County budget. We're going to receive another presentation here now, and we'll continue the discussion. You'll have your opportunity to weigh in. So item number 31, fiscal year 2025-2026 recommended budget discussion. I see our CAO has returned. She was out last evening under the weather, but I was not expecting to see you today, but I am happy to see you today. So Nancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. As you mentioned, last night we provided your board and the public with an update to the preliminary budget for the general fund and the fire fund, including closing fund balances, also known as carry forward as of June 30th, and the final property tax revenue estimates based on the assessor's final assessment roll. We also heard from the public last night and greatly appreciated the comments that will be taken into consideration as we finalize the budget. This morning, we will provide your board with a summarized version of last night's presentation. After today's presentation, we will rebalance the budget and make any adjustments based on critical needs and your board's priorities and direction from today. I will now turn the presentation over to Budget Director Alex Alva. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. As discussed yesterday, the Kern County Assessor has finalized the tax roll with a total assessed valuation of $129 billion. The final numbers reflect an overall increase of 2.57%, or 0.89% more than the original estimate in February. Despite a slowdown in real estate market, primarily due to higher interest rates, residential and commercial properties experienced a 4.3% increase, while oil and gas properties experienced a 12.32% decline. Oil and gas valuations declined, as mentioned, 12.32%, following a 21% decline in 24-25. After the additional 12.32% decline in the assessed value of oil and gas properties, this fiscal year, the overall decline now is 64.37% since 2014. For fiscal year 25-26, oil and gas value represents only 9% of the total. While recent revisions to Title 19 Kern County Zoning Ordinance 2025A may result in increased production, the results will not be known until 26-27. In total, the changes in property taxes have resulted in an increase of $2.5 million. Once we add the additional estimated increase in revenue for solar projects, the overall increase to discretionary revenue is $6 million from the preliminary budget. The carry forward was estimated at $51 million. The carry forward is primarily the result of one-time sales tax, high interest earnings, and increase in one-time franchise fees. The additional discretionary revenue added with the $51 million in net fund carry balance totals $57.1 million in additional available resources. These resources are recommended to fund one-time projects and additional ongoing costs for vital services. Your ongoing total adjustment is $5.8 million. $1.5 million is being recommended for increases to county-managed graffiti abatement program, while $4 million is recommended for the sheriff, coroner's office salaries and benefit increases. Your board has continued to support the sheriff's office efforts to fill vacant positions to ensure resources are available throughout the county. The previous attrition level at the sheriff's office has stabilized, and previous salary savings are no longer available, requiring $4 million to ensure sufficient appropriations are available to cover the cost of additional staff. From one-time funds, $51.3 million is being recommended. $3.2 million is being recommended to replace aging and high-mileage sheriff patrol vehicles. $4.6 million is being recommended for health benefits and payroll system updates. $1.7 million is recommended to accommodate rising insurance premium costs, and the majority, or $21.9 million, is recommended to support major maintenance and capital projects. These investments support the county's strategic efforts to maintain and enhance critical infrastructure, ensure long-term operational reliability, and public service delivery. The General Services Division has prioritized a range of necessary projects, focusing on projects required to comply with statutory, regulatory, and other legally binding mandates. Finally, in response to the ongoing rise in general liability claims, especially within the Public Safety Department, $17 million is being recommended to increase general liability designation. The escalation in claims presents a significant financial risk that could exhaust reserve funds and further strain department insurance costs. By increasing the designation, the county will be better prepared to manage increasing premium expenses, protect department budgets from volatility, and mitigate the financial impact of unforeseen claims. I'd now like to turn it over to Joseph Arreola, our Senior Fiscal and Policy Analyst, to briefly go over Measure K and the Fire Fund.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The Kern County Administrative Office estimates a $20 million net carry forward balance in Measure K funds for fiscal year 25-26. Of this amount, $2.2 million is recommended for one-time park improvement projects. The remaining $18 million is recommended to be placed in the Measure K Fiscal Stability Reserve. These one-time funds are primarily the result of jurisdictional sales tax corrections and large one-time solar project revenues, which cannot be expected to reoccur. The Fire Fund's property tax revenue estimate has increased by $700,000 compared to the preliminary budget. Combined with a $22.6 million fund balance carry forward, the department has $23.3 million available for 25-26. Of this, approximately $14 million is allocated to address capital and equipment replacement backlogs. I'll now turn the presentation to Ms. Elsa Martinez.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Last night we heard all the love for Supervisor Couch, in addition to a budget presentation.
It was truly miserable.
But in seriousness, today you're going to hear about public health. This is our short-term impact, what I call from federal and state funding. We're going to have a balanced hearing and a presentation of staffing reductions. What I want to assure the public is that we are looking at every program, and even though there's reductions on health services from our department, there are services available. We have already been in communication with Kern Health Systems, so those individuals that have that qualified, they can be, if they don't have a provider, they can be assigned a provider. We have also contacted Kern Medical, and they also have a mobile clinic, and conversations with them, they are willing and to kind of backfill the void that if your board approves the reduction of services, that they will reach out to those communities and try to provide services in a fuller scope, since they have medical doctors providing a comprehensive scope of services. But these are real impacts that the county is going to start feeling. As you heard, there was a stop work order from the federal government when it came to public health. It impacted some significant services. The department identified $10.5 million in revenue loss. They have been able to, efficiencies to reduce that dollar value to what you will hear in today's presentation this morning. Additionally, we also received notification that the federal government stopped the funding of the SNAP Ed program. This is the educational arm of the CalFresh program in California. And so this program also helps low-income individuals stretch their food budgets, adopt healthier diets, and reduce long-term chronic diseases. We anticipate this funding will end September 30, 2025. And at this time, for that program, the immediate impacts are still uncertain. There are funds that the state has what they call carry forward, and if the USDA implements the law, this allowing counties to maintain that funding, we should be able to use that funding to continue the program for at least the short term. What is important, and as part of this discussion, we need to plan for the future. There are going to be impacts. The federal government is changing our funding structure. We need to prepare, and your departments are already doing that. You heard today from your Department of Child Support Services. They're looking at innovative ways to provide services. We're gonna have to do that. I mean, we cannot cut our way through this. We're gonna have to look at how we're going to provide services in a different manner. Your Department of Human Services is already looking at changes. How are the eligibility changes on SNAP and the additional administrative costs is gonna be implemented from the state? We don't know. But we know that changes are happening. Same thing for Medicaid. There's significant reform that was, including stricter eligibility, work requirements. There's going to be an administrative burden in the county that we're going to have to address. Even though this doesn't impact us currently, it is expected that guidance is going to come next year and implementation is going to begin 2027. So we need to be vigilant and understand what the change is and understand how we are going to have to change to continue providing services for our community. Another issue that I want to address is some of the comments from last night. I think it's important to get back to the community. I think there was a comment that says another entity, did a PowerPoint slide very fast through the PowerPoint and never addressed their concerns. I think we need to address their concerns. And one of them that was brought to our attention is homelessness of foster care individuals. And your Department of Human Service, immediately provided an answer. What are the services that we provide for the the kids that are found themselves in those situations with no fault on their own, and they grow into the system and they get to an age where they're no longer receiving services. So we currently have foster care, support foster care youth through the age of 21. So they do have some time, to develop, to grow, to get some training. We offer transitional housing programs that provide housing and comprehensive support. And we have caseworkers. The goal is to get them to be sustainable in an age, having to get them training, having to collaborate with other departments. We reach out to our Department of Employer Training Resources and say, what do you have to offer? There are programs. So we need to make sure that we're making that connection between our Department of Human Services and an Employer Training Resources. So those programs that we're utilizing, they can get the training with our other department. We have the Dream Center. The Dream Center is our community, and they offer life skills. Some of these individuals just need some life skills to be able to understand how to maintain a job and how to get an apartment. So we do have significant programs that help those individuals, hopefully with the goal that after they reach the age of 21, some programs go all the way to age 24, that they can find themselves employed and being good citizens in our community. The other issue that was brought to our attention was signs. And I talked to our Director of Public Works, and they are looking at it. That is a safety issue, so they're definitely looking into it. There's no power, so they create some challenges, but they are definitely looking into that. I was a little bit scared that Dora Hernandez came because she asked me about the La Colonia Park every meeting she comes, but I'm happy to report the project is almost complete, and hopefully we'll have a ceremony at the end of August. So there's a lot of things we look as we prepare the budget before we present to the board. The message of this budget is we need to prepare. Things are changing. How we're going to deliver services to our community is going to change. And our departments, as you heard, child support, all the things that they're already reviewing. You will be hearing from our public health services director, all the things that they already did to mitigate the revenue loss. Unfortunately, that loss was so significant that other things need to happen and includes a reduction of services, but services that will be available in the community from other providers. I think one of another person from the community indicated that they were happy to see that we provide resources to aging population. A lot of the programs from Aging and Adult Services are funded by state and federal, but this year's budget includes an additional contribution of $2 million to Aging and Adult Services because we have the program that supports our very vulnerable population for meals. And so they had a significant increase in the demand, and we needed to support that program for the meantime until additional federal funding come about. So this slide that you have in here, this is just the discretionary revenue contribution to departments. And the reason we like to put it up there is because it shows that we are mandated. It's not, your board is very supportive of public safety, but that is one of the mandates we have with our discretionary resources. We have to provide public safety, criminal justice, and other services to the community. So again, this is not our final presentation. We will have one more opportunity to discuss the budget, and that will be during budget adoption on August 26th. This concludes all our prepared remarks, and we will be happy to answer any questions.
Can you please, Elsa, clarify for the public, this conversation, item number 31, is on the budget, but after the budget hearing, we will be having the more specific agenda item and discussion 41 and 42, which we'll hear together. But if you could just explain that difference.
Correct. Part of the budget includes the funding. So in the budget, if there's a revenue reduction, we do address it in the budget. But your board is required to have a complete different discussion, which are those two items that you mentioned, where we are going to have the discussion on the hearing that we're required by law to have, and the reduction of staffing. Your board is going to hear from our Director of Public Health on the items that she has already, the steps she has already taken to address the revenue reduction. But she's also going to address the impacts of that revenue reduction for your board to consider.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. We have a very lengthy hearing. Items number 41 and 42 are extensive and frankly quite painful, and we have to devote some time to that this morning, as we should and need to. But I am going to ask the public to please honor what we're going to impose for this particular conversation, which is a 2-minute limit on public input. We have a lot of public input this morning. We're going to be here fleshing through difficult issues. So I would just please ask that for the public, if you would please be mindful of the time. I do believe 2 minutes is adequate for most people to say what they need to say to this body and to be given full consideration. So I would just ask you for that, please, as we move forward and have what are going to be just the beginning of difficult conversations in Kern County services and budget moving forward. So thank you for that. At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing, ask for members of the public to come down, and please give us your input and give us, your view of these matters, and we will give them full consideration. Good morning, and welcome again, Janine.
Janine, Haney, Hallmark, Adams.
Love it.
Tehachapi.
Love it.
Chairwoman Perez, I'm here all the time. One time you said, what the federal government does not understand is that all politics are local and all implementation of programs are local. And so who suffers? You guys. You are in the hot seat more than that Mike Johnson guy or one's higher than him, okay? So I really do feel for you, quite frankly. And I took, 25% of my time just to tell you that. I agree 100% that all citizens should vote. However, looking at history, we have less than a perfect history. My daughter has a grandmother who's Japanese and was interned at age 16 from Selma. So hashtag I am an immigrant, my daughter is, my family is very mixed up. But perfection cannot be the enemy of the good in the budgetary process. We'll never be perfect in our elections. We cannot spend the amount of money to make things perfect. That's called a principle of, where'd you go, Elsa? Okay. Materiality, or you have to make judgments between what's material and what is immaterial. Staff has been defunded already at this county. I don't care what you say. I was a worker, and I know workers. Public health layoffs, I'll talk about it the next session. I still got 30 seconds. I am a voter. You folks are electeds. The public elects you to represent them, and if you fail to do so without demonstrating good faith and transparency, you will no longer be sitting where you are. That's not a threat, that is a promise.
Thank you, Janine. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Ileana Rivera. I am a nurse practitioner at the Health Officers Clinic. I am here to say that layoffs would devastate the public's ability to stay safe, healthy, and productive. We are one of the only clinics in Kern County offering rapid antiretroviral therapy. With a severe shortage of infectious disease providers in our community, patients often wait months to receive care. Without our services, patients would go untreated for extended periods, leading to worse health outcomes and increased disease transmission. We also provide post-exposure prophylaxis for individuals potentially exposed to HIV. This treatment must begin within 72 hours. These services are not offered by primary care or emergency departments. Cutting them means patients will not be able to get treatment in time or if at all. We offer PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis for high-risk individuals. Our team helps low-income patients access it for free, something other clinics do not do. Elsa mentioned that patients can go to other clinics and receive these services. That yes, they can go to their primary care doctor and potentially receive a prescription, but they will not receive assistance in obtaining the medication at an affordable cost. It costs thousands of dollars a month. We also provide syphilis evaluation and treatment. I want to emphasize that hospitals and other clinics in our community refer patients to us because of our experience and our ability to provide specialized care. Additionally, we deliver all of these services through our mobile health unit. We bring essential care directly to rural and underserved areas of Kern County. Our county already faces a public health crisis. HIV rates are not 50% higher, 90% higher than the state average. They are 114% higher. Syphilis is 30 times higher today than it was 20 years ago, and congenital syphilis is 34 times higher. To the Board of Supervisors, you are directly responsible for public health in this county. So I ask you, are you not alarmed that Kern County already has some of the worst health outcomes in the nation? And are you not ashamed that instead of investing in public health, you are considering dismantling it? We are already an underserved community, and you are wanting to further decrease public access to health care. Think about the message you're sending to our community, that you do not care about rural communities, vulnerable populations, and that you do not care about public health. Layoffs are unnecessary, especially when your own public records show that over $70 million in state dollars dedicated to public health and safety remain unspent and piling up. So I ask you to protect local jobs, protect our community's health, and fix Kern now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera. Hello, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Camila Rivera, and I'm a teenager living in Kern County. I'm here today because the proposed cuts to the Public Health Department and the reduction of clinic services will directly harm young people in our community. The Public Health Clinic is one of the only places in the county where teens can access confidential and affordable care for family planning and STI services. Many teens like me either can't or don't feel comfortable using their parents' insurance. We rely on this clinic to get the care that we need at low or no cost. If it's taken away, we'll be left with nowhere to go. Let me be clear, young people in Kern County are already at risk. According to the California Department of Public Health, Kern County has one of the highest teen pregnancy rates in California. Our chlamydia rates are the second highest in the state, with most cases among 15 to 24-year-olds. Gonorrhea rates are 167% higher than the state average. You don't fix these problems by shutting down the one place that helps prevent them. This clinic doesn't just give out birth control or STI tests. It gives teens a place to obtain information, counseling, and education about real options without judgment. It empowers us to take control of our health and our futures. If you defund the clinic, it will make it harder for teens to get the services we need on time, affordably, and safely. To the Board of Supervisors, you are responsible for protecting the health of everyone in Kern County, including us, the next generation. So I ask you, are you okay with the rising teen pregnancies and STI rates? Are you okay with making it harder for young people to access care? Are you okay with all of this, even though you have $70 million in unspent public health funds that could keep these services going? I may just be one voice, but I speak for thousands of teens in Kern County who depend on this clinic. Please don't take it away from us. Protect our health, fund the clinic, fix Kern now.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Nathaniel Gozi. I'm a communicable disease investigator at Public Health. I'm sure you'll look at some pretty large numbers today with the budget. I mean, I've had to balance budgets myself as a manager before, but I want to talk about just a smaller number. 27 positions that are be potentially laid off, 27 people who will be potentially laid off, 27 families who will be forever changed if you don't release the funds needed for those positions. Yes, Elsa, the patients can go elsewhere to communities to get services, but where are the employees going to go? They may not have a choice. So, I mean, we already know that there's funding there to help continue the services needed that are desperate. I mean, for us to lose, 7 VNs or vocational nurses, 2 providers in our clinic, that's dramatically going to affect the amount of people we can help. So if you don't release those funds, I would really like to request for all 5 of you and Elsa to come to Public Health and directly meet with the 27 employees who are going to be laid off and explain to them why. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, we have the funding. You have the funding that'll help us. Not only help us, but help the community to continue to be serviced. That we've already going to talk about how people are going to be affected by this. And I work with the clinic daily. I'm on the phone daily with clinics and doctors and providers who call us asking, hey, what do? We don't have the medicine to provide for these patients. So they send them to us. We are the last stop to help these patients. So please, make it make sense. You're all intelligent. You're all smart. That's why you're there. So please, help us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gozi. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Diana Ortega, and I am one of the 7 licensed vocational nurses that is part of the potential layoff here in Kern County that works at the Health Officers Clinic at the Public Health Department. STD screenings, treatments, and vaccine programs, as well as TB risk assessments serving our local community are some of the services we offer here at the clinic. We are in the middle of a public health crisis. We rank among the top counties in California for syphilis rates, 3rd county to be exact. In fact, syphilis has risen more than 30-fold over the past 2 decades, and congenital syphilis, which affects newborns, has increased over 34 times. These are not just numbers, these are lives. HIV cases are rising and vaccination rates for our children are falling. Only about 87% of kindergartners here are fully vaccinated, which is far below the 95% we need to protect against outbreaks. When we cut access to childhood vaccines, our most underserved communities are the ones hit the hardest. Many families, especially in rural Kern County, for example, Boron, California City, Ridgecrest, Roseman, Taft, Arvin, and Wasco rely on public clinics like our mobile health unit, for example, for vaccines. Even though I know the lady said Kern Medical Mobile Unit would fill in these gaps, we have caught mistakes with vaccines from them and other clinics, especially when it comes to live vaccines like the MMR and varicella. When these are given and kids need a tuberculosis screening and they have met risk factors, they need to come to us. These children are not unable to attend school for 28 days because they have a time period where they have to wait to have their blood drawn to give accurate test results. Without these vaccines, kids go unprotected and preventable diseases return. Now, because of budget cuts, these life-saving services and my job are at risk. These layoffs are not only harmful, they're unjustified. Public records clearly show that more than $70 million in state funds specifically designated for public health and safety remain unused. While that money sits idle, our community is facing rising infection rates. Underserved families are losing access to care, and frontline workers like myself are being let go. With funding available, cutting critical services and jobs simply doesn't make sense. We give people the dignity knowing and managing their health, and for those without insurance or reliable transportations, these public health services are often the only safety net they have, because access to sexual health services and vaccines isn't just about preventing disease, it's about preventing dignity. Family, community, and the future of Kern County, I urge everyone here today, whether you're a policymaker, a healthcare provider, a parent, or a concerned resident, to support and fight for these services. So I urge you, before making these decisions, rethink how these cuts will affect not just employees you're laying off, but the entire community that depends on us. Because once these services are gone, the impact won't be temporary. It will be felt for generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, board members. My name is Steve Barrington Oates, and I'm with Public Health. And I don't have a lot to say. As a matter of fact, I'm embarrassed that I'm following a 15-year-old who blew my mind away, as a matter of fact.
Mine too.
But I've got a few questions. I'm concerned. I understand that we're having this crisis, that we need to lay people off. We need to cancel services from public health in a community where these services are absolutely needed. I understand things happen. I know that the federal government is cut. But my thought is, and when I ask people, they tell me that all we need is $3.5 million, a lot of money. But then my union tells me that we've got $70 million. Well, you know what? I did the math. I'm old, but I was still able to count.
You look like a young man to me.
73.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we've got all of this money, then why aren't we putting the $3.5 million into public health? Now, I'm sure you have a reason for this, but at some point, I'd like to know what that is. That's very important to me because, well, I trust you, and I'd hate to think that you're hurting your people. I said I work for public health. In fact, I work for you. One of the things that I do is I sit at my desk every day and I talk to school nurses and pediatricians because they don't teach immunizations in medical school. So somebody needs to find that information out and be there with them. And I know that we say that we have all these places where folks can go. We don't. And if you don't believe me, when school starts this year, take a tour of your schools and look in the cafeterias and see the children that are going to be sent home that day because they didn't get immunizations because public health does not have the immunization back to school clinic that we are known to have. And understand, when you say that these people can call their providers and get that shot, it's going to be at least 2 weeks. That means that little Johnny is out of school for 2 weeks. All I ask is that you think about these things and understand that you're here to help me help all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chairman Perez, members of the board. My name is Claudia Jonah. I had many years' opportunity to be a servant on the Public Health Services Department team. And I just want to add to the considerations that you are having to process in this going on. There is a very specific niche for public health. And while there are others that can do medical services, public health, from what I experienced when I was in the department, we did not create duplication. We did the part that we were supposed to do relative to the public impacts of health on the entire community, and then enabled the biggest stretch of all the other medical providers in town. One thing I want to add to the conversation so far is that there's a specific between training and the experience in operating in public health. It would not be a very good approach to let go of trained individuals. You cannot just get them back if you come up with another process or another way to provide this service that is really critical. I was very encouraged in years past when we were able, as a public health department, to leverage most of our services on external funds. But when that was not possible, your county stepped in to do the funding that was needed, because I think there was a recognition of the importance of what public health does. And I would just ask that we recall that as we're going through this process now. I am still in your shoes in that I'm invested in this community. I retired in 2018. I've had an opportunity to do some volunteer work for another county department. And so it affects all of us. And I'm going to stop because I will not go over on my 2 minutes. And thank you so much for the opportunity for me to come and speak.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, Ms. Jonah. It's been a little while. Yeah. Very nice to see you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to comment on the budget presentation that we received this morning?
Good morning, Dennis McLean again.
Good morning, Dennis.
I just had something to say, a little common sense, maybe from some seniors that, didn't grow up during the time where they had, clinics and mobile this and emergency room and all that stuff, and that we survived. First of all, we do not live in a perfect world, and I do support exposing waste, fraud, and abuse in our government. I know it affects our county, but I trust Elsa Martinez to pull this off. We will survive this setback, and we may learn something in the long run with this, so thank you for letting me speak.
That's the shortest you've ever been, Dennis. Like a philosopher.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Charles Shin. I will make a connection from a commenter last night who was talking about some of the money that was going to our elections department. And for one instance, way back when, before we had 20 drop boxes, Kern County used to have 1 drop box. It was actually located right out front of this building at the entrance area. And due to presents that homeless folks were leaving in there, they decided that that was a little unsecure for, important ballots and things to be in that proximity of that. So now we have 20 drop boxes, and our group asked for cameras. The election law states that your ballot is supposed to be securely protected at all times. So when you're in a precinct voting, there's eyes on target. When you're dropping your ballot off in a drop box, we bought cameras that weren't recording, weren't on unless somebody was in the elections department from 8 to 5 to request the camera to shift focus on 20 different locations. So virtually the camera systems were $30,000 wasted money. If we want to have our votes protected, we have to have security on our drop boxes to make sure that there's no contamination of votes or vandalizing or stealing votes. That's why the elections department gets the big money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. I see other members in the back. Could I ask you to come down to the front so we can move the meeting along? If you could come down, it would be so helpful. Thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. I first, then I will continue with Supervisor Couch.
He likes it.
So no, I know yesterday a lot, I'm sorry, my name is Diana Mireles, a community organizer with Center Race Poverty and the Environment. Last night, I give the opportunity to all the residents to talk with you about the needs and the community and what is important to allocate those monies on the roads improvements. And we are, thank you to listen to them. We noticed that Mrs. Martinez, she's always on top of the comments and bring the solutions. And also I want to thank you to have this meeting for those people that they cannot able to come in the mornings, especially for the translation. A lot of the residents, they don't speak English, so, and they are really appreciate the opportunity for them to speak and what are the needs. And also, I know all the cuts are coming, and that in the budget. I know it's really sad where the public health. We are really encourage you to make the best decisions. The health, the roads improvements, all these are going, for us, are going together. Because if the sidewalks, they don't have sidewalks, all the pollution, so it's affecting the health, and we need the health assistance. So, and thank you, I trust in you. So, and I want to say thank you to all the supervisors, because we know Supervisor Cash cannot do nothing with your support. So, and thank you for everyone and all the departments that always support the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana, for your years-long advocacy for your community. It's striking. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome
morning.
again.
My name is Malachi Gonzalez.
Hi,
I'm
Mal.
speaking on behalf of the Mexican colony community. This is La Colonia Mexicana. My family's been out there since 1926. 2026 will be our 100-year celebration. Wow. And I'm just thankful that we got a park, thanks to District 4. And on that being said, we also want to see if we could collaborate somehow with the sheriff department, because a lot of criminals and stuff think they could go to our community and hide out or do crimes and think they could get away with it because the law enforcement, Shafter PD, can't go to our area because it's not their jurisdiction. So we're just seeing if we could get any type of help from the sheriff department to patrol our area, since we are having a park, to keep the kids and the elderly people safe and the community safe of the Mexican colony. So that's what I'm just asking today, to see if we could get some help and some safety patrolling and stuff like that in our area. Thank you very much.
Keep the parks for what their intended purpose is.
Exactly.
Families and children in the
Yes.
community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, members of the board. Good morning, Madam Chairperson Perez. My name is David Jara. I'm a vice president for a nonprofit organization called La Colonia. I believe a lot of other board members were here last night, including my mother, Dora Hernandez Jara, which is the president of our organization. So I'm just here today to offer some more suggestions into the allocation of the funds for one of the communities that we represent, which is the Mexican colony. One thing that I did notice that we do need out there is a bus stop for, I believe, the Kern Regional Transit. Back when I was attending Bakersfield College, I had lived out there with my mother, and unfortunately I did not have transportation at the time, and so I would have to wake up around like 4:30 or 5 a.m. just to be ready so that my mother can give me a ride to Shafter to catch the 5:50 a.m. Bus to get to Bakersfield College, right? And so, and that meant that if for whatever reason she couldn't take me to Shafter when I was in college, that I would have to walk the 4 miles to the bus stop in Shafter, because as you know, our community is roughly 3 or 4 miles outside of Shafter. And so we don't have a bus stop out there to get students to and from CSUB or Bakersfield College, or let alone even Shafter. And so I would just like to recommend that maybe allocating some funds to divert the Kern Regional Transit to the community, so that way the elderly or students would be able to access that and be able to get to where they need to go, to college or even to the city of Shafter. Another suggestion would be building a resilience center out there, or an activity center, because I know that there has been a lot of changes being made. We have the park, so I thank you guys for that. And so continuing to strengthen the infrastructure of that community. I believe like a resilience center to combat the heat. As you know, Bakersfield it's really hot in the summertime, and since we do have a lot of elderly and young children out there, a lot of those families, they don't have AC, and so they have to rely on their swamp coolers, and it just gets way too hot. So maybe
Brutal.
consider building a resilience center, activity center out there for the community.
Thank you for your advocacy.
Thank you.
So impressive.
Thank you.
As they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So, keep at it. Good morning and welcome.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Elizabeth Machuca.
Diana, you'll be offering translation?
I want to try to do my best.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I want to try to do my best.
Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Machuca.
Soy miembro del Comité Progreso del Amón
I'm member of the Comité Progreso del Amón.
y estoy aquí para abogar por las necesidades de las comunidades,
I'm here to advocate for the needs of the communities,
especialmente por la de Lamont,
especially for Lamont.
que está en mucha desventaja,
It's an the disadvantage.
que necesita muchos arreglos de infraestructura.
They need a lot of infrastructure. I'm sorry, infrastructure needs.
Como las calles y banquetas que pueden ver en la lista que se entregó ayer.
Like example, the streets and sidewalks from the list that we provide you yesterday.
En la lista de ayer solo fue una calle, pero sabemos que hay muchas más.
And the list from yesterday is only one street, but there is more streets that they need improve.
Queremos que pongan un poquito más de dinero o prioricen la comunidad de Lamont, más que nada por la seguridad de los niños.
We need to encourage to allocate more money on the road improvements, especially in Lamont, and especially because for the kids' security.
Ya que ellos caminan a la parada de los bases y a la parada de las escuelas y no tienen banquetas ni a veces las calles son de tierra.
Because they have to walk to school, and it's not a sidewalks, and they have to walk on the dirt.
Y estas calles se ponen muy feas, especialmente en los días lluviosos y de neblina. Siento que son muy peligrosas para ellos.
And those streets where they don't have a sidewalks is really dangerous on rainy days because it's a mud and it's the foggy days, and she thinks it's not very safe for the kids.
Por favor, incluyanos en su budget.
Please include us in your budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. That was so helpful. Are there any other members of the public that would like to comment on the budget process? Now would be the time to do so.
Yes.
Thank you.
One last visit.
Okay. One of many.
Just kidding.
One of many.
Okay. Jermaine Rockmore, following up from last night, this is a proposal that I'll talk to you all about. There's a copy of it there for each and every one of you. I don't want to press too much on that topic because we already talked about it, but for my District 2 supervisor, I do want to talk to you about Greenfield and how it's going out there. As I mentioned to you yesterday, I'm an armed citizen, and I'm having to be that armed citizen in that neighborhood because of that new truck stop that was put in there, Loves. It's brought an influx of trucks and a lot more traffic through our neighborhood. It's made it to where it's been more vulnerable to home invasions. I personally have received 2 of those. I gladly accepted it because I have a sign that clearly says, if you come, please bring identification. I hate to be that person, but when people walk in your house at weird hours of the night, drive off with your car, I have record of with the DA's office, it causes a little concern for me. So I have an 8-year-old that I mentioned that was abducted from school. So I do want to talk to you about the safety of that community right behind the fire station. I would be willing to take what I earned from the county with my current business and fund a gate or something to protect us from diesel trucks and anybody entering that area, because it's just an open path for crime to happen, and then that crime to hit the freeway north or south, and we'll never know who it is. It happens a lot. So we spend a lot of hours on cameras at nighttime watching electric bikes, which are very fast. So they've gotten more ways to get around and do what they're doing. And a lot of the neighbors have spoken up, and I kind of feel like I'm the only person that's going to say something about it. So I'd definitely love to talk with you, make an appointment with that.
Supervisor Parley, did you punch in for this item?
I did, yeah. So we had a nice chat after the meeting yesterday. Said we're going to follow up. If you want to go up to my staff's office, they're there right now, room 502.
Okay.
I was going to reach out. Michael was going to reach out from my office too. So that's when it works.
All right, good deal.
Thank you, Supervisor Parley. Thank you. Okay, regarding our budget presentation this morning, I see we have another speaker coming down. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning. I had a hard stop at 11, so I'm speaking in regards to agenda item number 41. So
Okay.
thank you, members of the board, for being here today to hear about what you're being asked to take away from our community. I'm Dr. Baines, your assemblywoman from Kern County. Look, I understand the fiscal realities that the county is facing. I understand that numbers matter, that budgets are finite, and that sometimes hard choices must be made. But let's not confuse hard choices with bad choices. Today, you're being asked to make a decision that will slash essential public health services, shutter the Shafter Clinic, gut mobile health care, and cut daily appointments in Bakersfield by 2/3. This isn't just a budget cut. It's a decision to pull out the safety net and hope someone will catch the fall. This plan assumes overworked emergency rooms already busting at the seams can absorb these cuts. It assumes children will still somehow get vaccinated for school without your department administering over 800 immunizations in just 1 week last year. It assumes the next pandemic won't arrive because once again, we won't be ready for it. Public health has always been treated like the red-headed stepchild of healthcare. During COVID-19, we saw speech after speech promising we had learned our lesson, that public health would now be a public priority. How quickly we have forgotten. To add insult to injury, the staff report recommending these cuts by this county has the audacity to single out that fair wages for healthcare workers as the reason that their jobs and their services need to be eliminated. Come on. Kern County and the San Joaquin Valley are amongst the largest healthcare workforce shortage areas in the entire country. We need hundreds more nurses, nutritionists, social workers, and doctors, not fewer. And yet we're told that when a nurse gets a $1.50 raise, we have to start firing them? Let me remind you, Kern County was one of the counties in California that did not provide hazard pay to frontline workers during the pandemic, despite being told nearly every day there wasn't enough PPE to keep them safe. We didn't stay home. I was out there. I worked without PPE. I didn't use Zoom. We showed up in person every single day because that's the only way healthcare works. They risked their lives while saving ours. At what point do we start valuing their sacrifices, not just during a global pandemic, but every single day? Well, now would be a good time to start, because our medical providers are being hammered by Washington, D.C. right now. Yet, somehow, this staff report makes zero mention of the $1 trillion cut to Medicaid that just passed Congress and was signed into law by the president. Oh yeah, don't mention that. The single largest cut to healthcare funding in American history didn't even earn a footnote in your presentation. In a county with one of the highest Medi-Cal enrollment rates in the country, with tens of thousands of residents on food assistance, that omission is staggering. I'm not here to sell you fairy tales because sometimes I get it. Hard decisions have to be made, but I'm here to tell you healthcare is not your piggy bank. Cutting these services tells a diabetic grandma in Shafter she's too expensive to keep alive. It tells a teenager in Arvin with an unplanned pregnancy she's on her own. It tells the EMT student their education isn't worth the overhead. So often, as elected leaders, we're put in a box and asked to choose between a bad option and a worse one. But if that's the box that you're in, break the damn box. Amen. This isn't about dollars and cents. It's about values and common sense. When we let the sick get sicker, the poor fall through the cracks, and the future go unvaccinated, do you really think we've saved money? Or are we just balancing the spreadsheet this year by going into debt tomorrow? When you accept that investing in healthcare today saves money tomorrow, you will understand that this proposal must be rejected. It fails to solve the county's fiscal problem, and it sacrifices the health of our most vulnerable residents in the process. You don't have to be a medical doctor to know this is a bad deal. I urge you to
Madam Chair.
send this ridiculous proposal back to the county staff and ask for better ideas. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Supervisor Peters?
Oh, that's okay. I just saw we had gone quite a bit over. I just want to make sure everybody was respecting that, that time limit we expected of everybody.
That's fair, thank you. Okay, good morning and welcome.
Hard act to follow there. Back to the budget. Carol Bender. I wanted to speak about Measure K funding as part of the budget. As we know, Measure K was quite a fight. I was very on the front lines on that one to help our sheriff department, help our fire department, help our DA's office, public safety. In today's budget, Measure K has an overage of 20-point-something million. I'd like to know if that money is going to go directly to sheriff, DA, and firefighters instead of going into the general fund for potentially other things. Because some of those funds were just not used yet, or we need to bank them for all the things we've been wanting for the last several decades since I've lived here. We have 46 fire stations. Most of them are at least built in the 70s, 60s, and 50s. We're building a fabulous fire station in Hart Flat, yay. But what about all the other ones? What are we doing in the meantime? If we're only going to build one fire station every 3 years, I think maybe my great-grandchildren might see what happens and then we start all over again. So I'd like to know if any of that money is going to be used to renovate the current fire stations. I'm asking supervisors and whoever their appointees are to the Measure K to go and visit in person these fire stations in your districts. The sleeping quarters, their general layout of these places, you wouldn't even want to live there in some of them. And you have to see them for yourself. Our firefighters are there 48 hours minimum for each of their shifts. That's their home. That's their second home. If we want to retain our firefighters, they're going to want the money. That's their priority, and I get it. They deserve it. But they also deserve reasonable living conditions while they're at work. And they don't have it, in my opinion, unless they're at the newer stations. So I'd like to know if that's going to be something that happens. And in the meantime, I'm hoping that stuff like spay and neutering, as much as we need it, does not come out of the Measure K budget. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment on the budget? Okay, seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing and return to my colleagues for comment and action. Gentlemen?
Thank you. Madam Chair, thank you. I want to thank all the speakers that have come out today to give their input. It really matters to hear it in real time. I want to thank staff and Elsa and CAO for your treatment, and all the budget analysts, and for all the departments that are doing their part. We'll get through this. We have a balanced budget. It's fiscally sound. We're going to continue to deliver vital services, including public health, public safety, and all that. But that last speaker, Assemblywoman Women Baines, I mean, that was a bit much. The theatrics was a bit much. I mean, I have to address that because the irony that these cuts, the combination of cuts, came from Sacramento and DC, the irony that they emanate from Sacramento, and to give us a lecture is, that's the fantasy. I mean, talk is cheap. Send us the money from Sacramento, claw back the cuts, and then we can have a discussion. But don't blame the county of Kern. I mean, that's total hypocrisy. I mean, what theatrics?
Gentlemen, Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I completely echo what Supervisor Flores said. There was one speaker earlier, though, that asked a question about he's being told by his union that they need $3.5 million, and we have $70 million allocated, and he wanted that answered. And I understand the explanation for that, but I do think that's a fair request if we could delve into that a little bit more and just break that down for him and the public, if you wouldn't mind.
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, thank you for that, because one of the numbers that they're referencing is 77 million. This is coming out of our annual financial report. This is accumulation of restricted fund balances from more than 8 departments in a health category. Predominantly, the balance is related to Department of Health Services and behavioral health services. You can't spend that money on public health, unfortunately. Public health balances total about 687,000 of the 77 million that's sitting in restricted reserves, and that's one-time funding. So typically, for ongoing, it would only be a temporary short-term resolution. We would have to figure out from a general fund perspective the ongoing impact.
Thank you for that clarification. I think I've got some other questions that I'll save for our next agenda item, but just to reiterate on one thing Ms. Martinez mentioned about the need to look at how we provide services moving forward and how things are changing right now. I agree, and I think that this is a step in the right direction for it. I know that there's been a lot of hard work put in by staff. I appreciate it. I made a referral at the, I believe it was the May board meeting, to look at ways that we might start streamlining services, looking at anything that we can do just to make sure that we're providing as efficient but still full service and as robust amount of service as we can, but just looking at ways to identify those efficiencies, any kind of redundancies we have, and potentially looking at having a third party come in and look at operations, how we do things. And I believe that was considered by the Finance Committee, and I was just going to see if maybe we could get some feedback on that and a report maybe at our next meeting would be more appropriate. But I would be interested to hear what the thoughts of my colleagues or staff is on that.
Supervisor Peters, thank you. Jeff, did you make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, so regarding your comments, we have a motion to receive and file, as we are, of course, continuing the budgetary process. This is not the end of it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second by Supervisor Peters. Any other comments, gentlemen, at this time? Okay. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. We're going to move on to items number 41 and 42, which because of their nature and subject matter being essentially the same, we're going to hear those presentations concurrently, but we will vote on them separately. So regarding numbers 41 and 42, regarding public health services, I see the staff is making their way to staff table. Sorry, I don't mean to rush you, but we are going to hear a presentation regarding some changes that we should expect to the Public Health Services Department. We're going to get a full explanation for that, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and have those questions addressed. So thank you. I see our staff is in place. I'm not sure who's starting out, but the floor is yours, Public Health.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Bryn Kerrigan, your Director of Kern County Public Health. I'm joined at the dais by Kimberly Hernandez, Division Director of Health Services. The items before your board this morning are a Bielenson hearing to consider a reduction in county-offered medical services and the proposed deletion of 35 positions, potentially resulting in 27 layoffs. This public hearing is being held in accordance with Health and Safety Code Section 1442.5, also known as the Bielenson Act, which requires public input when a county proposes to close, eliminate, or significantly reduce medical services. We are here today because of an urgent financial reality. The department has experienced a sudden, significant decline in state and federal funding and simultaneous increases in operational costs. Due to these impacts, we are in a position where difficult decisions must be made. The only way for us to close our fiscal year 2025-26 budget gap without additional resources is to reduce our services and our workforce. Let me start by giving a brief history of how we got here. Over the last 2 years, we have lost approximately $12.5 million in annual discretionary state and federal funding. This includes a $2 million cut from the state's Future of Public Health initiative and a $10.5 million loss from the CDC due to a sudden stop work order received in March of 2025. Future of Public Health funding was launched in fiscal year 2022-23 and was intended to be an ongoing funding source specifically dedicated to bolstering the public health workforce and to implement programs designed to improve health outcomes. This funding required 70% towards the addition of new positions. Given this was allocated as an ongoing funding source, the department added 33 new positions. 2 years later, the department experienced a 38% reduction in this funding allocation, totaling approximately $2 million per year. On March 24th, 2025, the department received a stop work order on multiple Centers for Disease Control and Prevention funding streams that were originally slated to be available to us through June 30, 2026. This stop work order was effective on March 23rd, 2025, 1 day prior to the day we received the order with no advance notice. This funding was anticipated to total approximately $10.5 million for each of the remaining fiscal years under the original term of the funding agreement. This funding was used to cover approximately 30 positions within the department. We also face increasing operating costs, particularly related to the implementation of Senate Bill 525, which raised the minimum wage for healthcare workers. SB 525 applies to Kern County Public Health because we operate a public health clinic. SB 525 alone is estimated to increase our operating costs by over $1 million in fiscal year 2025-26, with no offsetting revenue source. And SB 525 will continue to increase our operating costs in the coming years as there are 2 more phases of salary increases required within the regulation. With over half our budget funded through state and federal allocations, we are accustomed to adapting to shifts in our funding. However, the cascading effect of these major, sudden, and simultaneous changes has made it impossible to pivot without impacting our services and our workforce. In an effort to minimize service disruption and prevent an impact to our workforce, we started taking aggressive steps in March that included rescinding job offers, deleting 27 vacant positions, resulting in an annual savings of $3.4 million. We initiated a hiring freeze. We halted all non-essential overtime and travel. We issued early termination of contracts, and through staff attrition, sunsetted programs like Know Your Numbers, which had previously served 300 residents last year. Despite these efforts, we are still faced with a budget gap of approximately $5.5 million, and further reductions are necessary. As you are aware, Kern County ranks among the lowest in California for key health indicators. We have the highest diabetes-related mortality in the state. We have leading rates of valley fever, HIV, and STIs. 78% of our adults are classified as overweight or obese, which is a significant risk factor for the development of chronic disease. Much of Kern County is considered a federally designated healthcare provider shortage area, indicating there is a shortage of primary care providers, and we continue to see a rise in the use of emergency medical services and the hospital emergency rooms. This paints a sobering and urgent picture of the health challenges we face as a county. Every reduction in services will have a real and meaningful consequence for the residents of Kern County who rely on them. Nonetheless, the stark reality of our financial situation leaves us with no choice but to propose reductions that would hopefully have the least impact on our residents. Currently, the department operates clinics in Bakersfield, Shafter, and Delano, and a mobile health clinic. The clinic in Bakersfield and the mobile health clinic provide a number of preventative health care services, including birth control and family planning services, pregnancy testing and referral to prenatal providers, sexually transmitted infection testing, treatment, contact tracing, and expedited partner therapy, HIV services, including pre-exposure prophylaxis, post-exposure prophylaxis, rapid testing, and rapid initiation of HIV treatment, immunizations, tuberculosis risk assessments, skin testing, blood testing, and sputum collection, and health screenings. In 2024, our Bakersfield clinic had 7,579 patient visits, and our mobile health clinic had 529 patient visits. The Delano and Shafter offices each hold once per week immunization and tuberculosis service clinics. In 2024, our Delano office had 517 patient visits, while our Shafter office had 33 patient visits. Many of the Kern County residents we serve prefer our clinics and at times are able to get faster appointment availability with our clinics. However, similar services are available from other providers throughout Kern County. When exploring a potential reduction to our clinic services, we spoke with providers like Kern Medical, who said they could take on our patients displaced from our Bakersfield clinic. We also met with Kern Health Systems, who indicated they have a mobile clinic network that could handle requests for our mobile clinic, and their existing stationary and mobile clinic infrastructure covers all of the areas that we currently serve. Therefore, we are proposing the following clinic-related reductions. Maintain all services currently provided in our Bakersfield clinic located at 1800 Mount Vernon Avenue, but reduce the number of clinic appointments available from 78 per day to 25. Eliminate the routine mobile clinic schedule and fully close the Shafter Public Health Office. These reductions, while painful and consequential, will yield approximately $3.6 million in net annual savings. I briefly mentioned this earlier, but it's important to note that maintaining our clinic operations at any level does require the department to comply with the future phases of SB 525 implementation, which means the department will be subject to continued operational cost increases over the next couple of years. However, we strongly believe a full closure of the clinic would be catastrophic and significantly hinder the county's ability to respond in the event of a mass medical emergency. Specifically, if our clinic were to close entirely, we would lose eligibility to receive emergency supplies from the National Strategic Stockpile, including emergency medications, vaccines, and other therapeutic interventions in the event of an emergency. Our ability to respond to public health emergencies with rapid vaccination or treatment would be crippled, as we would not have trained staff who regularly practice the necessary skills needed to administer these treatments, and we would have no ability to quickly provide treatment to individuals who are recently diagnosed with communicable diseases like HIV or syphilis when they aren't able to secure a prompt appointment with another healthcare provider. While the Bielenson hearing is required for the reduction of medical services, there are additional services that will also sunset that do not require this formalized process in order for us to close our budget gap. These reductions are being proposed solely due to the funding reductions and cost increases we're experiencing, and not due to a lack of need or value for these services or the performance of my staff. My team show up every day with a passion to serve our community and a commitment to improve the health outcomes in Kern County. Many of the employees potentially impacted by this proposal have shown remarkable dedication, having persevered through the COVID-19 pandemic and continuing to serve despite the uncertainty of these funding reductions. It is truly unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation, and it is not unique to Kern County, as many other California counties have also recently announced reductions to services provided by public health. Our department remains committed to protecting the health and safety of Kern County residents. However, without the necessary financial resources, we cannot continue offering the same level of service. Madam Chair, members of the board, this concludes my comments, and I'll remain available for any questions you may have.
Thank you for your presentation. And my apologies for a difficult chapter for you. And I appreciate your incredible professionalism and devotion to the work. Okay, this is an opportunity for members of the public to come and address this board on the presentation as just received. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak at this time? You probably noticed that earlier we had a number of comments about this subject, even though we were having the budget discussion. They are, of course, related, and I think there's in general just some confusion often. But we did receive public comment about these cuts. And I think we have a general sense of the sentiment of some members of the community. Not everybody agreed, of course, but we did receive that input, and is certainly in our memory as we sit here and receive this presentation. So are there any members of the public who want to comment at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and return to my colleagues for comment, question, action, suggestion. Supervisor Flores, you're up, and then Peters, and then Couch.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Bren, for the tough report and the staff report. And I just want to thank you and commend you for your leadership at Public Health. I've worked with you throughout the years. I worked with you on MCAB. I see you on a weekly, monthly basis. You've been through the fire during COVID. Your work is instrumental. We all appreciate you. And I noticed that on page 2, you talked about the measures in place to lessen the blow. I appreciate those bullet points, the hiring freeze, the overtime, the travel, the vacant positions, the rescinding new job offers. And I know those are tough choices because those are real-world health impacts. But the overall mission of public health is to protect the public health. In order to do that, sometimes these budget maneuvers and changes are needed to protect the overall mission, the long-term mission. And so that's what you're doing here today. That's what we're doing. Despite the feds, despite the state cuts, we're going to get through this and work with our medical partners throughout the community. I just had a question on page 3 where you outline some of the service impacts 1 through 7, the prevention, the testing, the pre-exposure prophylactics, all those things that you give treatment to. Does that mean that all ceases entirely, or can they access these services in a non-mobile setting at a different part of public health?
Supervisor Flores, through the chair, the proposal in front of you does not fully eliminate those services from our Bakersfield clinic. It reduces the number of appointments, but it maintains that full service menu within our Bakersfield clinic.
Thank you. So that's very reassuring. So that's important to state for the record that they're not being cut in their entirety. These services still exist. So for those that need it, in addition to Kern Medical, Kern Health Systems, Dignity, Adventist, Centric, Good Samaritan, Omni, Clinica, a whole host of healthcare providers throughout our comprehensive continuum of care in the county of Kern. Kern County Public Health still has these services. Now, the format may change, the appointments may change. It may not be, to use an analogy, Amazon Healthcare to your doorstep. You're gonna have to come to Target. You're gonna have to come to the mothership. But you will have those services. So this alarmist approach that somehow they're gonna vanish needs to be corrected. And so the correction is embedded in the staff report. We will deliver these services. So I want to make that clear to the public. And so thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. The work will continue. The work is not going to cease. The services are not going to cease. The sky is not falling. We will get through this. We'll get through this together, prudently, fiscally, everything that it takes to do the job to improve public health. We're not going to abandon that mission. So thank you.
Supervisor Flores, thank you for your comments. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor Flores made the main point that I wanted to make, but I did want to reiterate, I appreciate Director Kerrigan, you and your staff's professionalism, your dedication. I know this is a tough issue that we're dealing with, and I know that we're going to pull through it, but this is just one of those difficult decisions that we're having to consider. So I appreciate you looking at this from the lens of how we can still best serve the community and how we can hopefully have the least negative impact possible from this. I did want to ask if you would expand a little bit just on what this means for some of the mobile clinics and the services offered in the outlying areas. For example, Lake Isabella, Kern River Valley, or Ridgecrest in District 1.
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, the current proposal eliminates the full-time schedule for our mobile health clinic, meaning we will no longer serve our outlying areas through the mobile health clinic on a routine basis. We have discussed the availability of services through other mobile health providers with Kern Health Systems and Kern Medical, who indicate that they can fulfill any requests that we receive for our mobile health clinic, and that they have an existing infrastructure that serves all of the areas that our mobile health clinic was serving. Now, we will maintain our mobile health clinic. We will just not be staffing it full-time at this point in this proposal. However, the ultimate goal will be to find additional resources so that we can expand our services again and be able to get our mobile health clinic back out into the community.
Thank you. And I understand even, one client that we need to see, one patient we need to provide services to is important, and we need to try and strive to do that. But just so we can understand a little bit more fully about how many appointments or patients were we seeing in those areas on a regular basis? Because my understanding is it was a fairly small number.
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, for the entirety of 2024, our mobile health clinic saw 529 patient visits.
And do you know, I don't know if you have that information in front of you, but as far as, like, say, the Kern River Valley or Ridgecrest in particular, how many visits that might have represented?
Yes, if I may have one moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, our mobile clinic was not serving Lake Isabella or the Kern River Valley as it could not travel up the canyon, but we did service Ridgecrest, and for the entire year of 2024, we had 41 patient visits at the Ridgecrest Library.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to reiterate that just so the community was aware kind of what that service looked like. And I know that there are times are tough in healthcare all over right now. I know the hospitals and other care providers in those areas are having difficult times, but hopefully that's manageable, and we can work with our partners to make sure that those folks are accommodated. So I'll wrap it up, but I just want to say thank you again. I appreciate your guys' work on this. I wish Assemblymember Baines would have stuck around for the actual budget item so she could hear the explanation from staff on this. But that's okay. We'll hopefully get the information to her, and thanks again.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. I want to talk about Shafter for just a second. you said, I think there were 32 or 33 visits the entire year of 2024?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, that's correct. There was 33 patient visits in the Shafter
Okay, so
office.
when did you open that? Was it, it's a clinic that we rented or we rented space somewhere? I've not seen that facility.
Our public health office is in the administrative building in the Shafter office. We have one of the offices located there, and we hold a clinic once a week in Shafter.
So, and you started doing that when you got the funding? Or how long has it been there?
We've been doing that for many, many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that if you knew you were only going to have 33 visits a year, you probably wouldn't have even put someone there in the first place?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, the individual that is staffed in that office does perform other services. I would have to look back to see if this is an ongoing trend of 33 visits per year or if we've seen a steady decline in that. But that is
my
not
guess is you've seen a decline because the other services have come in and been established.
correct. I don't believe 33 visits a year is a sustainable model.
Well, it's unfortunate that Shafter, any community loses some services, but I agree with you. That's expensive healthcare for a full-time nurse to see that few number of patients. I want to talk about the 70-something million or 77 million. Can you, and I'm asking this, and it's not going to sound very polite. It sounded bureaucratic. So I want you to explain to the average person who, you said it was restricted funding, right? What does that exactly mean? That means you can only spend it on whatever the grant or the funding was designed for or applied for?
Supervisor Couch, that would be correct.
And
So
most
we-
of that money was for behavioral health, not public health. I know that's-
Predominantly, actually, Department of Human Services, so it's Medi-Cal Administration Trust, some mental health services, a lot of very specific department program revenue, funding, so that they can only spend it on those programs.
So you have zero discretion on 76 some odd million dollars of the 77 million that was identified. Is that correct?
So all of this is restricted to the very specific purpose it was received, the whole 77 million. 687,000 totals the public health program funding that even on those would have to be spent specifically on what they were received for.
Okay. Unfortunately, did anybody that spoke in favor of this stick around to hear you explain that the first time?
Supervisor Couch, the chair, I believe they had already left, unfortunately.
That happens a lot. All right, those are my questions. I appreciate it. And by the way, I want to say to Bryn, you talked about a lot of things that you did when you first heard about this and the changes that you made for a few months that nobody really knew about, nobody was up in arms about. So I appreciate the way you handled that. And you really didn't take the opportunity to say, I already made these changes and you guys didn't even notice it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch. Supervisor Parlier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, a medical term, triage. So we are in triage right now to basically stop the bleeding to help protect the body of public health, correct?
Supervisor Parlier, through the chair, correct.
Now, Kern County only has so many eggs in its basket, or money. And unfortunately, the state or the federal government can reach into our basket whenever they want and take money out of it. And that's a shame. I'm not happy about this, but it is what it is. I, years ago, worked for a smaller state agency and was subject to a layoff, and it was a hard time. It was a hard time for myself, my wife, who had a good job. She had to quit because when I got another job, she had to, move with me. So I understand the pain that these employees are going through, and I just want to touch on what we're doing to help a little bit. Now, if somebody's close to retirement age, or are we doing something, or if some other employee is fairly new, are we looking at other avenues to maybe plug them into other county positions?
Supervisor Parlier, through the chair, if I may begin, and then I'll punt it over to HR and CAO. We've all been working collectively to try to do everything we can to minimize the impact to filled positions and ultimately have the least number of layoffs as possible. So we are actively working together. We are internally every day are meeting to see if we can find ways that we can shift our funding to absorb people. If anybody gives their resignation, we're looking to see if that resignation could be offset by moving somebody that may be impacted by these budget impacts into that position so that they keep their job and we can continue to fulfill the scope of work that comes with the funding that we do have available from the position that's vacated. And then I'll turn it over to HR to talk about some of the other work we've been doing.
Thank you, Brent. Supervisor Parlier, through the chair, Michael Gillard, I'm the Assistant Chief Human Resources Officer for the county. Other things that we do, in addition to what Brent has already discussed, she's talking about functions that she's trying to do within the department, which again started some time back. Human Resources will do other activities, and this all happens after approval of the deletion of positions. And what we do, we work directly with each affected employee, and we really look at the county umbrella as a whole, and we try to find, let's say, landing spots for them if we can. So we're going to look at the employee, their employment history with the county. We're going to discuss what their individual rights are related to bumping. That means that they've held previous positions in the past and what that allows them to do. We discuss county reemployment with them, department reemployment, and we also have conversations with other departments. We know that the specific funding cuts we're talking about are with public health. We do have positions across the county, some may be in allied agencies or positions that are not unique to public health where we can find other spots for employees. We do all of these things. We discuss golden handshakes, which is part of the procedure if your board and the department is in agreement with that. We provide information regarding what happens to the employee if they remain. That's the best case scenario. If we can't find a landing spot, we're discussing the things such as health benefits, the continuity of coverage, COBRA, things of that nature. And when we have this type of situation, we'll also work with the agencies such as ETR and EDD to discuss what those things look like as well.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad to hear that we have such a good plan under a bad circumstance. And I want to thank you for that. Can you just talk about the golden parachute, just a little bit, what that means for somebody close to retirement age?
Yes, and I believe Brent mentioned it. We do look at the ability to offer someone a golden handshake. It would be someone that first they have to meet the qualifications for that. They have to be of retirement age. They have to have the appropriate years of service. And it's typically someone that has a pretty long tenure with the county. And there are fiscal responsibilities when we offer a golden handshake, and that in some cases allows us to save a occupied position by offering an employee that's close to near retirement the opportunity to retire a little bit earlier.
I know it's kind of a guess right now, but do you think we'll be able to shepherd some of these people into other positions?
Across the board, I think we will, yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, cool.
Bryn, kind of layering in on top of what Philip said for East Kern, for the mobile health clinic, can you give me the numbers for East Kern?
Supervisor Parlier, through the chair. Let's see. We visit the California City Library, and in 2024, we saw 25 patients. Taft is also in your district. We visit the Calvary Church and Albertsons and Taft for a combined total of 24 patients during 2024. It looks like those are the areas that we go to in your district.
Do you think there's a possibility that instead of being out, let's say, regularly in those communities, that we could, go out, I don't know, quarterly or something and have some sort of quarterly visits?
Supervisor Parlier, through the chair, if the proposal is approved, that's in front of your board today. If we use our clinic staff from our Bakersfield clinic, we can send them out into the mobile to do special clinics as requested or as needed. It would just mean that we wouldn't be able to provide those services in Bakersfield for that day.
Okay. Well, again, thanks to your department and your staff for doing all the hard work during hard times. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Parley. I had the same questions, and you covered them. I appreciate it very much. Okay. As it relates to item number 41, I ask my colleagues for action. A motion by Supervisor Flores,
Second.
second by Supervisor Parley. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Regarding item number 42, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I have a motion from Supervisor Peters, second Supervisor Flores. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you to the county family for your presentation. Thank you, Bryn, for your incredible professionalism and continued devotion, you and your team. We're going to adjourn to closed session where we have several matters to take up, and we'll return for the 2 p.m. session. I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, Jeff.